What's up, YouTube? It's another day with the one and only Billy J.
If God had a name, what would it be, and would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question?
We continue our journey in the Bible with Abraham and Sarah. So some time goes by after Abraham and Sarah were released by King Abimelech, and God feels it's about the right time for Sarah to get pregnant. So God comes down to Sarah's tent one night and plays some Barry Whites and lights some candles and works his magic to get Sarah's reproduction system back up and operational. Because remember, around this time, Sarah is about 100 years old. She's no spring chicken. So anyway, she's all hot and bothered and rearing to go, and God comes up to Abraham and says, "Go at it, son. It's time to get busy if you want your promised son." So Abraham jumps in the tent, and him and Sarah do the deed, and lo and behold, Sarah becomes pregnant just as God promised. 9 months later, Sarah pops out a beautiful baby boy, and they name him Isaac. And 8 days after being born, Isaac is circumcised by Abraham so that he can get into heaven. So Sarah's basically joking around saying, "Hey, who would have thought Abraham and I would be having kids at our age? But God has brought us this miracle." And also that's why they chose the name Isaac, because Isaac means laughter. Anyway, time goes by and Isaac grew just like all babies do. And Isaac was weaned off the teat because back then they didn't have baby formula. And to celebrate, Abraham decides to throw a big feast and a big party to celebrate the weaning of Isaac. And to celebrate because all that milk is his. Well, apparently Ishmael, you remember Ishmael is the bastard son of Abraham to Hagar the handmaiden, and he's a teenager by this time, and he was somehow mocking Isaac weaning off the teats. How you do that, I don't know, but he was mocking the baby, but Sarah saw this and got furious. And she's had it with Hagar and Ishmael hanging around the camp, and she bitches and bitches to Abraham to get them out. Because Ishmael is a bastard, and she doesn't want Ishmael getting anything once Abraham passes. She wants everything to go to Isaac, the true-born son. Man, Sarah is one jealous bitch. They could have stayed in the camp. All they had to do was make a little law saying, "Hey, Ishmael doesn't get anything when I pass, and everything goes to Isaac." Bing bong, everything's done. You don't have to cast them out. But Sarah was jealous of Hagar from the very beginning. If you remember, Sarah used to beat Hagar when she was pregnant, even though Hagar getting pregnant was Sarah's idea. And Hagar was beaten so bad that she had to run away and had to be convinced by an angel to even go back. And God only knows what other abuses that poor woman had to endure over the years. And now she and her son are being cast out into the wilderness. Well, at least Abraham has a heart, and he was actually distraught about this. So distraught that he decided he needed to talk to God about this. Well, God wasn't much help. All he said is, "Hey, listen to your wife and cast them out. But don't worry, I'll give your son Ishmael a great nation." Gee, thanks. Isaac gets many nations, and yet Ishmael only gets one? Well, after his conversation with God, the next morning Abraham wakes up early, and he gives a bottle of water and a loaf of bread to Ishmael and Hagar and sends them on their way. He could have at least sent some people with them to protect them or to help them survive. But no, he just sends Hagar, a handmaiden, and her son, who's a teenager, off on their own. With no survivor skills, no self-defense, just a woman and her son out in the middle of the desert. Well, after wandering around for who knows how long and drinking all the water and eating all the bread, which probably didn't help in the hydration, but dehydration and hunger began to set in for Ishmael and Hagar. And she didn't know what to do other than to prepare for their inevitable deaths. She laid Ishmael under some bushes and went a little bit away and turned her back to her son, so that she didn't have to witness her son dying. And she sat and cried. And as Ishmael lay dying, he cried and he called out to God. And all of a sudden, God hears his cries, but not Hagar's, and he comes and speaks to Hagar. And God asks Hagar, "What's ailing you?" What kind of stupid question is that? God clearly knows that she was cast out of Abraham's camp and the fact that she's dying of dehydration. Anyway, he goes on to say, "Fear not, I have heard your son's cries, not yours, because you're a woman, and I only listen to guys. But I'm going to come save the day for the both of you. Get up and hold his hand, and I'm going to get him a great nation." And God opened up her eyes, because I guess they're too dry to be open. And lo and behold, God presents them with a well of water in front of them. And the Bible fast forward to where Ishmael grows up and he becomes an archer. And he has a wife who's from Egypt, just like his mom. And that's all the Bible had to say about Hagar and her son Ishmael. Well, the descendants of Ishmael become the Ishmaelites, who later down the line become the Muslims. So lo and behold, the people of the three main religions of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, we are all descendants of Abraham. Well, that's the end of this chapter of the Bible stories. Remember, peace, love, unity, respect. Peace out, guys.